Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I would first like to tell you the story of Michael Wang, an Asian American student who had worked very hard to accomplish his goals. By the time he was 8 years old, Michael had aspired to attend an Ivy League college and pursue a career in law. And by the end of high school, Michael was confident that he had done enough to get into one of his dream schools, which were Harvard, Yale, Stanford, or Princeton. When I say that Michael worked hard, I mean he worked extremely hard. He had a 4.67 GPA, aced the ACT, scored in the 99th percentile on the SATs, and he wasn't just academically successful. He had a robust extracurriculars. Like, he was a member of the student speech and debate team, he co-founded the student math club, and even played the piano. Now, what's sad and honestly surprising is that Michael was rejected from every single one of his dream schools. But this decision wasn't made on the basis of his accomplishments. It was made because of his race. How would you feel if you had spent years doing your very best, only to be turned away because of your race? Sadly, Michael isn't the only student, a part of a minority group, who suffers at the hands of this government program known as affirmative action. Today, I'm proposing that affirmative action, as it specifically relates to college campus applications and acceptance, is extremely flawed. It's an ineffective way to eliminate inequality and is in need of improvement for students of all different races. My primary reasons or contentions for my position on affirmative action are that it hasn't increased or encouraged overall enrollment into college for African American or Hispanic students, has resulted in worse academic performance for African American students, and creates division among students on campus. All three of these contentions are reasons why action should be taken to improve this government policy, and will be discussed along with possible goals for the future. My first argument is that affirmative action has negatively impacted African American and Hispanic students, as it hasn't shown to increase overall enrollment. According to an analysis done by the New York Times in 2017, even after decades of affirmative action, there are fewer African American and Hispanic students admitted into colleges today than there were 35 years ago. The article also notes that Blacks and Hispanics remain underrepresented at top schools like Ivy Leagues, even as the percentage of white students are declining at these top schools, in some cases below 50%. So why do we continue to put faith in a government program that is failing at the very thing that they've intended to do? My second argument is that affirmative action has resulted in worse academic performance for African American students. According to an article from The Atlantic, about half of Black college students rank in the bottom 20% in their classes. In law school, they rank in the bottom 10%. What was honestly saddening for me to find out as well is that African American students, or freshmen, are actually more likely to aspire to STEM careers or majors like science or engineering than are white freshmen. However, due to mismatch caused by affirmative action, then they tend to drop out or abandon these fields of work due to the rigorous course load. Because these African American students are accepted into college with low academic performance, they are mismatched with their peers and do poorly because they're up against peers that have been accepted on the basis of their merits. So why do colleges expect students to do better after they've been admitted when they didn't expect them to do well before they were admitted? My third and final argument is that affirmative action creates divisiveness among students on campus. A 2010 article from the New York Post highlights the comments of the Dean of Admissions at Harvard University when it states that the expectations or standards that students of different races had to be held to. For African American students, for example, to get into the school, they had to score an 1100 on the SATs. White students, however, had to score a 1310. And Asian American students had to score a 1350. Does this sound fair? This way of preferential treatment or excluding students on the basis of race is seen as unfair by many students and causes division. Why can't students, even students that are minorities or non-minorities, get accepted into the school of their choice if they worked hard? And some of these students also come from economically disadvantaged households or families. I want to wrap up my speech by stating that the original intentions of affirmative action are indeed virtuous, as they aim to right the wrongs of discrimination of the past, but its effects show to be negative, as it hurts those that it was originally intended for. African American students like myself should be able to look at themselves and be proud of their accomplishments and say they are qualified to be at the position that they are in at a particular college. just like white and Asian American students are, who have been held to a higher standard. All students of every race can work hard and excel. I want to leave you with the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., that we should judge not by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. Thank you.